Hey everybody, welcome back to I Know a Guy. If you're new here, my name is Anthony. On this show, we interview entrepreneurs, business owners, professionals, and people doing cool things. For example, today we're meeting Orly Amor. She is a globally recognized speaker, best-selling author, and business coach specializing in public speaking and professional growth. With her unique strategies, Orly empowers entrepreneurs and professionals to harness the power of speaking to grow their business and achieve lasting success. How are you doing today, Orly?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Every time we've talked, I've really enjoyed our conversations, and you're doing really cool things. So I know a lot of people out there could benefit from it. So, but to start off, where are you calling in from? Where are you located?
I am in Florida, Palm Bay, Florida. It's about an hour east of Orlando. It's on the east coast of Florida.
Awesome. Are you originally from the area, or are you more
No, not at
recent?
all. I'm a Canadian.
Okay, yeah, I got you. You try to get as far away from Canada and stay in North America as you can.
I lived in Florida for 10 years, coming from Canada. Then I moved to New York. Then I moved back to Florida. So it's, yeah, I'm doing the opposite of everything everybody else is doing.
Yeah, sometimes it's good to be different. So
Mhm.
awesome. So what do you typically do for fun down there if people are coming to visit that never visited you before?
I like to go to the beach, that's for sure. And Orlando is not far, so all the theme parks are awesome. And there's really amazing restaurants in the Orlando area. So I love it.
Yeah, yeah. I've been to Florida. Never been all the way down to the Orlando area, but been to different parts, and it's fun. It's definitely different than up here in the north, so it is.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, we're still having only 60 degrees, so it's not too bad.
yeah, now, middle of the summer, I might not make it, but anyway. So, what can you tell us about what you do?
I'm a business coach for public speakers and entrepreneurs, and still the only one in the world that guarantees they'll make 150K their first year in public speaking, or I work with them until they do. But I've been in the self-help world for a very long time. So I've done it for 27 years now, full time.
Awesome, awesome. Well, what got you started in the public speaking space? What kind of took you down that path?
That is such a good question. I was in property management for many years, and I was also a speaker in that realm. I call it the realm because I never want to go back. So you know when it's a realm, it's far. I never want to go back. But I was a speaker in that realm, and also I wrote a couple of books on the subject matter. And one day, one of my girlfriends asked me to speak at a women's shelter. And I kind of got, it was kind of a surprise. I said, why? Why do you want me? What do you want me to speak about? Property management? She's like, no, silly. I want you to tell your story. And I said, oh, no, 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 that's never going to happen. So let's hang up. She's like calling me every single day for 3 weeks. And finally, I asked her, I said, why me? There's other people that speak about these topics. Why me? She said, well, you have this bubbly personality. You're like a social butterfly. Everywhere you go, people hug you. People who don't know you hug you. And you're living a lifestyle that most people dream about. Come and give these women hope. And I really didn't want to go. And I finally relented and I spoke at this women's shelter 3 months later. And it was a pivotal moment in my life because one of the ladies that was in the audience came to see me afterwards and she was crying. And she said, you don't understand. Thank you. You don't understand. And although I was going back and forth with her as far as, yes, I do understand because of my own story, she took out a piece of paper out of her pocket and she said, you see here, this is how I was going to kill myself this morning. In fact, I don't remember driving from my house to the shelter. You see here, that's not where I was going. But I heard you speak and I want to live. I just need you to show me how. That's when I realized that property management is the outdoor and public speaking is what I want to do to impact people's lives.
That's a powerful story. Yeah, I would definitely see that that would be a good. Yeah, we're gonna transition. I can do more good here. So, have you always been a good speaker, or were you originally not, or kind of how was that journey for you?
Actually, no, I was not a good speaker, but I did not know that. Speakers have a little bit of an ego, right? So we go on stage and we think we're great because a couple of people come and tell us that we're good. But it wasn't so. My coach, actually, I showed him a video of me speaking at a property management event, and you can't make this up, right? This guy looks at the video and goes like this. Oh my God, Orly, that's horrible, horrible. And I'm like, oh my God, please, ground, open wide and swallow me whole. I hired him to coach me because I thought I was good, but I didn't know how to tell my story. And this is what he does by seeing what I've done. And so I said, oh my goodness, okay. I guess I need some help and some humble pie.
Yeah, that's a coaching method.
Yes, it is. Some serious humble pie.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. So, that's the thing with public speaking is it's a lot of people's biggest fear, right?
Yeah.
Because you have like, oh, I'm afraid of snakes, or I'm afraid of... Public speaking is right up there near the top. So, how do you overcome that? Like a lot of people bring a lot of fear and anxiety when it comes to public speaking. What are your methods to kind of defeat that?
Yeah, that's a great question because many people tell people to, or coaches out there, people who giving advice usually say, oh, you just have to think of everybody naked or think of everybody on the toilet bowl or something stupid like that. But what I say is, in that shelter, what I realize is that my purpose on this planet is much bigger than me and my little world of being afraid to share my story, being vulnerable. And I think that's much, when people are not afraid of speaking. They are afraid of rejection. They're afraid of humiliation. So when you think about your message and making it broader than just your little circle of friends and thinking about the impact you can make, in the act of sharing, there's contribution. You just never know whose life you're going to change.
Yeah, no, that is absolutely true. So, you've been doing it for years. What's your favorite thing about what you're doing?
The people that really make some changes because of me or that I impacted. And you know what? One of my mentors, not my clients, one of my mentors once told me, he said, the letter that will make you completely cry and break down, you haven't gotten it yet. Because there are so many people that would never be able to thank you. There are so many people that will be impacted by you and will probably go home thinking of you and praising you, but they will never tell you that what you've done for them. So I go every day out there, whether it's on Zoom or on a live event, knowing that I'm impacting someone somewhere. It's all about the one, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It is. And you don't know what you don't know. There's probably people out there that were very deeply impacted, but you'll never know about it. And the ones that really stand out are the ones that come and talk to you directly, but there's as many, if not more, of the ones that are just quiet about it.
Absolutely.
So awesome. So, what are some hard won lessons that you started off, now that you're an entrepreneur that you learned along the way that if somebody else is trying to get into your space or just an entrepreneurship in general, that you would advise them to, t take warning of or that you would do differently if you could go back and start over?
One is I always say that question comes up often. And the one thing that I say is never give up. Never give up on your dreams and goals. Don't worry about the mistakes you make along the way. They're all learning lessons. And don't beat yourself up so hard that you don't want to get up the next morning. Just brush it off. Literally brush it off and walk again. Because those little lessons are making you a little bit more but a little bit more I'm sorry, weary, but most importantly, they're making you stronger. If you learn from your mistakes, you're doing great. If you don't learn from your mistakes, that's because you haven't learned the lesson. So don't worry about making the mistakes again. That's because the lesson hasn't been learned. I also say trust God. Some people don't believe in God, so I'm not here to preach. I'm just saying I believe in God. I believe that if you are guided and you just believe in this, in your spirit, then you go ahead and follow that. Your instinct, your what people call your hunch, or in women they call it an intuition. Uh, that will never fail you. 100% of the time, listen to it.
Good advice. What would you say your average client looks like? What's a common thread between everybody they've been able to help that if they have this pain point or want help in this area, you're the one that they should talk to?
They they don't know that they can get paid. So that's one. And for entrepreneurs, especially if they want to get more clients, if they want to let more, speak one to many instead of one to one, which is exhausting. Another common thread is with speakers themselves or coaches or authors that want to get out there and spread their message. they've been doing it for a very long time with no payment. So, getting paid is something new to them, or they're struggling so much after so many tries and tribulations, and they're still not getting paid their worth.
Yeah,
Those,
no,
that's the thread.
yeah, and that just it kind of raises your standing too. If it's something that you were doing for free, but now you're charging, people take it more serious. They're going to listen a little deeper. There's something to be said just behind the psychology of that. So,
I totally agree.
what about power partners? Who do you tend to work well with? Other industries or individuals or businesses that you can kind of collaborate with?
Um, Publishers, coaches, right? Um, Networking groups, leaders of networking groups are really a great referral partner because I don't know everybody and they know everybody in their group and they have more conversations as to what's the next step in your business, in your life. And so the people who are group leaders are great referral partners because they sometimes bring me in as a speaker, and that's where they become even more of a referral partner.
Okay. When you're looking at a client or somebody that maybe that they want to get into speaking roles, they want to do that, and I correct me if I say this wrong, make $150,000 in a year just through speaking, but they don't believe it's possible. Maybe they've never had a paid speaking role before. What kind of assurances can you give them that not only is it possible, it's replicatable and you do it all the time?
Yeah, well, the first thing they need to know about this industry, like they know about their business, right? Everybody knows their own business. That's what they're in it. That's why they do what they do. You need to know about the industry itself. And if I told you that there are 64,000 events a day in America alone, Canada and the United States that pay speakers, there's room for everybody. That's number one. It's $113.2 billion industry, and we are 1 million speakers short in the world and 1 million coaches short in the world. So I think there is a possibility for everyone to make money in this business. It's not making it that's a problem. It's not knowing how.
What about the people that maybe they don't feel they have like a good story or something that people would want to listen to? What advice would you give them, or what can any examples where somebody might have thought that and you were able to help them?
Great question. Well, it's a part of my tagline. If you have a message, somebody's willing to pay for it. And I don't believe that nobody has a story. If you have kids, you have a story. If you're married, you have a story. If you're getting divorced, you have a story. If you ever had a girlfriend or a boyfriend, you have a story. If you ever had a job that you lost or a job that you've been at for a long time, you have stories galore. So it's not about the stories, it's what do you do with them? What is public speaking anyway? Tell a story, make a point, or make a point, tell a story. And this is why people get all bogged down in how to deliver that message, where they can just be themselves. If you are talking to a friend in your living room, tell them a story. How does that look? Same thing.
What would be a strategy you would tell somebody that's going to help them build confidence as a public speaker?
Think of yourself as a leader first. Think of yourself as a groundbreaking, no one has ever heard of you kind of thing. That if you put a pick in the ground, you found gold, this is who you are to the world. Because that confidence doesn't come by sitting at home. It comes from doing. It doesn't come from just dreaming about it. It comes from doing. I don't know how to ride a bike. I don't know about you. You know how to ride a bicycle? I don't know how to ride a bicycle. I never learned. I'm 57 years old, never learned how to ride a bicycle. Why is that? Because I got on a bicycle with training wheels when I was 7 years old and I got hit by a car. So I never went back on the bicycle. So people who do know how to ride a bicycle, now they might be really good at it, but did we always start that way? Did we not fall a few times and maybe break a couple of bones? I don't know. For everybody, it's different. In this business, you gotta do it in order to be good at it.
Yeah, that's absolutely accurate. It's with like literally everything else. You got to have repetition. Go out, fall on your face, get up, try it again, do it over and over and over. And before you know it, you're an old hat at it. So,
Mhm.
um, how can public speaking directly help entrepreneurs grow their businesses?
So, you know what? No business out there can live or survive without sales. Sometimes people say, well, I don't like to be salesy, right? And or I don't like to sell. We're selling ourselves every single day, right? We are talking to people in order to get them as clients. So we're selling. The way we go about it maybe is different for each and every one of us, but at the end of the day, that's what we need to get business. In public speaking, well, first let me ask you this. What is the best form of marketing? Word of mouth, right? One of the best forms of marketing is word of mouth. What's the second one? Public speaking, because you're speaking one to many. So you don't have to repeat yourself 100 times. It's easier to speak once and let everybody know what you do in order for the ones who are interested to come and at least have a conversation.
Really hard to scale if you're trying to talk to people one on one all the time.
Oh,
There's a
yeah.
place for it, but if you could talk one to 1,000, that's going to get you a little bit further.
Oh,
So,
yeah, for sure.
what's the biggest mistake professionals make when they're trying to become paid speakers?
They get stuck in analysis paralysis. Everything has to be perfect before they go out there. They don't know what they're going to talk about. They don't know, they didn't put their talk together, or they need a PowerPoint, or they need something. And I always tell people, you don't need any of that. You don't need a book. You don't need to be a good speaker. You can just go out there. Yes, granted, if you suck, they won't hire you back, but at least they'll get you in the door. And that's what's important. So people get to bog down on the analysis paralysis and they never get out there. That's the first thing to do is to get out there.
If they don't hire you back, you now know why. Don't do it again. Get better. It's the repetition. Uh,
Exactly.
so awesome. Okay. Is there anything that I missed or didn't ask that you wanted to add?
I think that you've really asked very good questions. And the one thing that people are sometimes also bogged down on is things that they hear out there that they need. Like they need a book, or they need a podcast, or they need a TEDx talk, or they need a niche, or they need a signature talk, or they need. There's 20 things that I tell people they don't need in order to make it in this business. So to stop thinking that they need certain things and just get out there. I didn't even have my website for 2 years because it was hacked and stolen from me. And I was still getting booked to speak every month. So hence the I lived it, I get it.
Exactly. What's the best way? So if people out there know they need to be better public speakers or would like to make some money doing it, what's the best way they get a hold of you? How can they find you?
They can go to my website, meetorlyamor.com, meetorlyamor.com. And I'm on social media. I am Orly Amor. Everywhere you can find me on LinkedIn, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. There's no shortage of places to find me. Google me. I'm everywhere.
Perfect. And if anybody would like to get a hold of Orly, absolutely reach out to her. Public speaking, like I said, is some of the folks' biggest fear, right? And there's really nothing to be afraid of. Get practice, get good at it, and then turn it into something that you might be able to monetize, or at least, just be better at it than you are now. So have that conversation. You're going to walk away knowing more than what you do. Otherwise, if I'm going to put all her links in the description as well, so we don't have to hunt for them. If you'd prefer a three-way introduction, just ask. I'm more than happy to introduce you as well. If somebody out there would like to be interviewed, feel free to reach out to me directly. I'll have my link tree in the description below as well. Grab a time. I'd love to have a conversation. But Orly, I really appreciate you coming on. I know a lot of us are going to benefit from learning from you because public speak, it's something we can't really get away from. If you're a business owner and you're the face of your business, guess what? You got to get good at talking to people. And, like you said, why talk one-on-one when you could do 1,000 to one or 10,000 to one? So let's all get out there, get better at talking to one another and meet more people. All right.
Absolutely. Thank you.
My pleasure.